The Pakistan media today put out videos in an explosive claim from across the border. Pakistan today released footage to its media to suggest that the military had somehow spotted and tracked an Indian Navy attack submarine off the coast of Pakistan. The video showed aerial infrared footage filmed from either an aircraft or a drone depicting the wake of a submarine that is at periscope depth, that is not submerged but at the surface. But while the Pakistan military is flaunting this as an achievement, that they've managed to detect a stealthy submarine more than 200 nautical miles off the coast of Karachi, there are good reasons to believe that the reality may be something else entirely. For starters, while there is no confirmation on whether the video in fact depicts an Indian submarine, the truth is a submarine actually surfacing to periscope depth out in open waters, especially the Arabian Sea, which is the Indian Navy's playground, is not such an unusual occurrence. And also, if it were indeed in hostile waters, as Pakistan is trying to claim, then the submarine would never be at periscope depth in such hostile waters, because in hostile waters, like those waters which are close to Pakistan where this submarine was not, a submarine would stay fully submerged at all costs, barring only two reasons for which it could possibly surface. If the submarine in the video is indeed Indian, then the very likely reason it surfaced, according to what the Pakistan media is trying to paint, is probably to call attention to itself in order to spook the adversary and flaunt how deep it has managed to penetrate into Pakistan's waters. Basically a show of strength, saying, hey, look at me. I want you to see me. I want you to track me and look at me so that you know how far I can enter your territorial waters. A show of strength. The second reason, which is highly unlikely, is an engine failure or a battery failure forcing the submarine to surface in some kind of unplanned manner. Now, the latter is nearly impossible since the submarine has clearly left those waters since. There's a lot of cat and mouse going on here. Now, there are some contradictions, however, in Pakistan's claim of an Indian submarine being spotted off the coast of Pakistan. The Pakistan media claimed that this was off the coast of Karachi, not very far from Pakistan, but coordinates show that the submarine was at quite a distance from Pakistan, in fact, nearer to the Gujarat coast. The submarine appears to be in motion at periscope depth and does not appear to be in any distress. And this is Pakistan's third such video since 2016 of a claimed Indian submarine being tracked and spotted in this manner. Many open-ended questions, but we have an expert to try and decode some of this for us here on India Today. Commodore Anil Jaisingh is a veteran submariner and Vice President of the Indian Maritime Foundation. It's a pleasure to have him live with me here on India Today. Good evening, Commodore Jaisingh. Thank you for being with me. What are you making of this, sir? What are you making of this? Assuming that this is an Indian submarine, what do you think is going on here?
No, I think firstly, there are two or three aspects to it. Yeah. Number one, as you correctly mentioned, I think it was about 3 years ago, perhaps 4 years ago, that Pakistan had put a similar video on one fine day saying that they're tracking an Indian submarine at periscope depth transiting through water.
Yes, sir.
And it showed a couple of masts and the submarine actually transiting. But they were never able to substantiate that with any positive identification that it was an Indian submarine. And when it was refuted by the Indian side, there was no contradiction to that either from the Pakistani side. Now, I haven't been able to see the video, but I hope it's not the same video they keep showing over and over again.
It doesn't appear to be the same video. It's a slightly different video, but pretty similar. Yes, go on, sir.
Right. That's number one. Secondly, if there is indeed an Indian submarine at periscope depth in the open ocean, probably exercising or doing some other maneuvers, there is no great compromise or great achievement in detecting it.
Exactly.
There are submarines who come up periscope depth. There may be an exercise requirement. It's peacetime. We could be exercising with our own forces. That's another part of it. The third aspect is that, let me be very clear, no submarine commanding officer, when I say no submarine commanding officer, I can say that with a degree of assurance. I also happened to command 4 of them. Will ever under any circumstances be at periscope depth during the day in not hostile waters, but even close to an adversary's waters. That can be ruled out. Even if the submarine has a major defect or a major emergency, this will be the absolute last resort where the submarine may have to come up to surface. He definitely won't be transiting at periscope depth anywhere in the vicinity of either the enemy, or I wouldn't say enemy, but another navy's presence. And if obviously the submarine has been picked up by a drone or by an aircraft, then there would have been some indication to the submarine on its ESM that there is a presence in the area of an enemy airborne surveillance capability, and he would have been doubly careful to ensure that he's not caught on surface. So I think these are the two or three things which I would like to emphasize, that, and this is what I said last is most important. A submarine commanding officer under no circumstances will be operating at periscope depth during the day in waters which could be considered.
I'm glad you've made that very clear, because if we look at the coordinates, Commodore Jai Singh, the submarine doesn't appear to be in territorial waters. It seems to be more than 250 nautical miles away, which, as you had characterized, is open ocean, where the Indian Navy routinely does exercises, and they do come up to periscope depths on a routine basis. Would it be possible in that case that the submarine has been spotted by one of these airborne platforms of the Pakistan Navy, and they're turning this into some kind of propaganda element to try and flaunt their abilities out in the open ocean? Could it be that for a domestic audience?
It's quite possible. They'll say, look, we're able to surveil 250 nautical miles away from our shores. We're able to track submarines, which is, of course, it's all part of this concept of maritime domain awareness. Pakistan in the last couple of years has stepped up its naval capabilities. And now, from the sort of brown water or rather green water navy it used to be, even Pakistan is now aspiring to be a blue water navy. It may not be an aircraft carrier navy, but they're certainly looking at covering a larger area of the Arabian Sea, and sort of showing their their ability to project their reach to a much larger distance than they did a few years ago. So it could be all part of that. Yeah, sure.
Absolutely. I'm glad you were able to make it so clear, because it's one thing for me to say it, but it's quite another for a veteran submariner and someone as distinguished as yourself, Commodore Jai Singh, to come on our channel and actually put out those facts. So many open-ended questions, but I guess that's the nature of the cat and mouse world of submarine operations that you are so familiar with. So who knows? We'll have to see whether Pakistan, follows this up with more information, or whether this is just going to be one of those shots fired and it just lingers forever on the internet. Thank you very much, sir, for joining me on this big story.